We'll get to it, people, because I know there's about 80,000 comments in the chat panel. Of course, we will talk transfers and where we are at the latest. And a bit like you, we've got our phones on. Something may break, something may develop. It's a bit of an excitement around today. And yet, did they do this just to annoy all you journalists? Because Paul Joyce's tweet looked pretty angry, as though he'd been woken up all of a sudden, because it was just after midnight, wasn't it? We got the Ornstein bomber, Paul Joyce, that Alexander Isak's agreed a deal. And I've seen different fees, but if I'm getting it right, is it 125 million, but 5 million somehow goes to his former clubs? It is just 125 million that Liverpool are paying.
Yeah, so Liverpool will just pay 125, and I think Newcastle are getting £5 million they feel back because they're not having to pay certain loyalty payments to Alexander Isak. So that's, as far as they're concerned, they're getting 130. So it's a little bit of a fudge, really. But at the end of the day, from Liverpool's point of view, they're only paying, only paying 125 million. It's quite a lot of money, that. But yeah, that's the fee that they've ended up agreeing on. And you knew talks were ongoing yesterday. It had gone a little bit quiet, but it was just quiet in the anticipation that a deal would be agreed. And yeah, finally there, despite all the kind of the statements, the suggestions he wasn't for sale at any price, the suggestions he would only be sold at 150 million, the suggestions he would only be sold if Newcastle already had two strikers in the door. Turns out a lot of that was not true. So yeah, they finally got it over the line, and he's the players travelled down this morning, I understand, from Newcastle. No private jet, unfortunately, so you can't play and track that one. I think he got driven down, and he should be undergoing all, medical and signing the contract now. And so by the end of today, unless anything goes awry with the medical, touch wood, it won't. We'll be seeing Alexander Isak announced as a Liverpool player,
which is almost insane to say. I mean, when we talked at the start of the summer, we said how big Florian Wirtz is, and that could even be, the signing off the summer. This one is the only one to really rival that, isn't it?
Yeah, Liverpool have made both of them. That's absolutely ridiculous, really, isn't it? To pay that much for two players in the same window, two unbelievable profiles as well that you're getting as well. And yeah, I mean, this one, so exciting as well, because he's already adapted to the Premier League. He's been, he's scored so many goals in recent years, and kind of hopefully he's at a decent level of fitness. It might take Liverpool a while to build him up, maybe, but they've also got Ekitike there to take some of the load as well. So things are looking pretty good, and very, very excited to see him, because I mean, we already know how good he is. I mean, I watched a compilation that someone had posted on social media a couple of days ago, which was everything every goal, every offside goal, every kind of chance he'd had against Liverpool, and you just watched it. This was just against Liverpool, and it was just crazy how good he is. Movement, the way he hits the ball. He's one of the cleanest strikers of a ball, I think, in world football at the moment, which is why he's such a deadly finisher. And composure, pace, strength, everything you want. So really, really exciting signing. Just takes Liverpool to another level, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. The internet's going to get broken when this gets announced later. And we're hoping they'll be alongside it. I mean, there's been different reports. It's been out this morning. This could be unlikely. Gomez won't be sold, but we'll deal with Guehi first of all. Because, I mean, there's even talk. We saw Glasner's press conference last night, didn't we? Almost felt like he was giving Parish an ultimatum. Are you still thinking this one gets done today?
Well, I had a conversation with someone at Liverpool this morning, and they seemed a little bit pessimistic, but that was before the Igor Julio news broke around the loan deal from Brighton, that I'm seeing suggestions that may have a permanent aspect to it. They're also signing a young defender from Cambo he's called, I think, from Toulouse. Is it? That's two centre-backs coming in, and, one of those experienced, one of them a bit younger. I know they play three at the back, but that's a lot of centre-halves to have. So you kind of lean on the side of that, meaning that they're preparing for a Guehi to go. But of course, Oliver Glasner's been quite kind of firm throughout all this. So I don't think you can say 100% that's what's going to happen. He's going to have to sign this off. And it feels like him and Steve Parish are on a bit of a collision course at the moment, really. So it's an interesting one, really, to see whether that's enough. I'm not sure they be signing Igor Julio if it weren't with the idea that Mark Guehi was moving on. I'm not so sure, but we're still waiting for kind of clarity on that. And as I say, Liverpool were a bit pessimistic in the morning, but we'll see if that stance has kind of changed. And yeah, big decision for Steve Parish to make and Oliver Glasner. And if he's still, even with getting Igor Julio through the door, doesn't want to sell Guehi and Crystal Palace do it anyway, there's a job just coming up at Bayer Leverkusen, I know. So that's really, really interesting to see what happens there.
It's a shame we didn't quite time it right, because the last time we were on air was when it broke that Ten Hag was sacked by United, wasn't it? If we'd gone 15 minutes earlier or so, we would have had that at the same time. But yeah, there you go. Quite interesting to see. In terms of that, I mean, those two are the only tangible incomings at the moment. We'll talk about possibilities and more. But in terms of outgoings, I know this was going to happen. This kind of made me a little sad, actually. It's Kostas Tsimikas to Roma, and no fee, I think, involved, is it? It's just a straight loan deal.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, just a straight loan deal, and yeah, a good move for him to get out and play football regularly. And we'll see what happens in terms of moving him on a permanent basis in the coming year. Or Andy Robertson only has a year left on his contract, so does that kind of work itself out? It's a really kind of interesting one, to be honest. But yeah, he needed to get out and play football. Liverpool couldn't have three left backs, and he's gone to a good club there in Roma, so that's kind of worked out for everyone, really. But we'll see, what that means in the long term. Is quite an interesting debate, really. But right move for player and club, I think.
Yeah, good move all around, and hopefully he does well, and we'll see what next summer brings. In terms of this summer, Joycey tweeted it this morning, or obviously mentioned it, about Villa monitoring Harvey Elliott's situation. It seems like the Red Bull stuff, which seemed likely, has gone really quiet. Is Harvey one of the ones to keep an eye on right till the deadline?
Yeah, 100%. There's a big chance he leaves, because you just can't see where he gets the minutes. And Liverpool were kind of early in the week wanted to say they were quite reluctant to let him go, but that was only on the basis that they didn't get another attacker in. And of course, now they are doing that with Alexander Isak. So 100% there's an openness now on their side to let Harvey go. Whether that's on a permanent or not, I mean, this is the insight into how this all works. I had a conversation about this yesterday, about kind of what the expectations were around Elliott, and they were quite firm about the fact that they kind of looking at some of the deals that have been done for young players in this window, and Tyler Dibling's one of the examples that was used. And why should they accept kind of less than 50 million for Harvey Elliott if they're selling permanently? Because look how many games he's played, the trophies he's won for Liverpool, goals scored, assists. He's right up with any young player. So whether that's going to price Leipzig out or not, we'll have to see. But I think if he did go on loan to Villa, what Liverpool would be thinking is there's still a permanent deal there in the offing, because he'll go there, he'll play well, he'll prove he's good enough, and they'll have faith in him doing that, and that will spark up some kind of interest in a permanent. So it's interesting. All outcomes on the table at the moment, as far as I understand it. So possible loan, possible permanent move, but we'll kind of see what gets agreed. But I'll be surprised if he's still here at the end of the window, just because I think he will want to go now and play regularly, and that is just not open to him at Liverpool, really.
And he's easily good enough to play for so many teams. So something like Villa would be a brilliant move for him. We'll see if there's anything in that one. And this one as well. I mean, Virgil van Dijk spoke about Joe Gomez leaving. He said obviously he wants to stay a friend. There's a bit of a sadness element to this. There does seem to be the option of AC Milan all of a sudden. It seems to have come from nowhere. But the suggested price tag of around £13 million. Does that not just seem low if it happens?
Yeah, but I do wonder whether that's kind of partly down to the fact that, with Liverpool, he's stuck around for such a long time, even in periods where it's not been favourable for him to do so, and kind of, a bit of kind of loyalty really to the player. And, we spoke at the start of the window about this, I think, about the idea that, Liverpool would feel like Liverpool would want to grant him a move if it came up because of that loyalty he's shown. And so I think, that's why they're maybe not asking for a crazy fee. You've got to factor in as well, his injury record as well has not generally been fantastic either. And so, that probably would make sense for them to do that, really. And again, with this one, it's, it seems to all be in place with AC Milan now, but it's just a case of, whether Liverpool can get Guehi over the line. And if that happens, and as soon as they do, then we'll see Joe Gomez move on, which means, by the way, that I was right about them not carrying 5 centre-halves this season. So I'll be delighted on that front, but very sad to see Joe Gomez move on, definitely.
Yeah, definitely a popular member. I suppose, aside from centre-back, the one thing I was just wondering, do you look at Jeremy Frimpong's injury, Conor Bradley's injury as well? Is there a risk Liverpool, and obviously Frimpong could even be covering Salah, we're told, when he goes to AFCON. Is there a chance with that Liverpool could just look short at right back? I know people are going to say Dominic Szoboszlai, but it doesn't feel like a permanent solution.
No, but I mean, you can't carry 3 left backs, can you? You can't carry 3 right backs. You can't, you've just got to accept sometimes. It was what a nice break glass option that was to have Joe Gomez there and capable of playing at right back. But you've got to you've got to hope that your 2 right backs can stay fit, and if they can't stay fit, then you have got Dominic Szoboszlai. And to be fair, using Szoboszlai there sometimes it kind of helps your rotation out a little bit, doesn't it? Because Wirtz, Maka, Gravenberg, Curtis Jones, they're all kind of Endo as well. They're all kind of deserving of minutes, aren't they? So, keeping Joe Gomez around on the basis that maybe you'll get injuries at right back and you might need him there. Well, look, that's happened. In fact, Bradley and Frimpong haven't been fit for the last 2 games, and they've used someone else there. So, you can't keep hold of him just for that reason, I don't think. And I think Liverpool, if you got 2 left backs, you got 2 right backs, you got 4 centre halves. That's enough, and maybe injuries will bite at times, and you'll get 2 injuries in the same position, and it becomes a bit of a nightmare. But you just can't legislate for that. You don't want to carry too big of a squad because people will be unhappy, really. So, you probably have to sanction this sale, really.
Yeah, it does feel that it's going to go this way. We'll have to see. And do you know what I forgot to say earlier? We hadn't mentioned Endo, but in terms of minute of the game where, literally it's at the end, there's the one where Gyökeres kind of spins him and he tries to trip him and misses. Did you see the bit where Endo just almost grabs him like Spider-Man and jumps on him, basically, and brings him down? We just needed that nous at the end, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I say nous. I mean, the rugby league tactics, really, to be honest. It was just brilliantly done. But he's so good at that kind of thing in terms of, he comes on, he breaks up play, wins headers, and then if he does get beaten, he says, well, I'll just accept my yellow card, then that's absolutely no problem as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, he's, he is someone I kind of think at the start of the summer I maybe thought was a candidate to leave, and he's kind of, the people around him made very clear that he wanted to stay at least for one more season, and so I'm really glad of that as well, because I think he's he's versatile. He helps out at centre half, absolutely. Don't want to ever see him at right back again, but he can play there. He can play in central midfield, and I think he's got a job to do as a closer for Liverpool. So that is really handy to have him about.
And I suppose the final question around the window, because there ain't much time until 7 p.m, and a few have dropped it in the chat panel saying we could obviously be being greedy, but Elliott to Villa, any chance of a third? Please say Morgan Rogers. Please say Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, I think you can see something's happening with Morgan Rogers, isn't it? Because Villa are signing left-sided attackers. They're looking at attacking midfielders. So, and there's been talk, hasn't there, about their PSR position. So it would not shock me if he moved on before the window closes. But I do not think it will be Liverpool. I had a conversation yesterday about that, and again, kind of was shut down to me completely in a way that made me think that's not, misdirection. It was just kind of, this just not happening. And you can make the case as well. I mean, look at the squad. Does he come in on that left-hand side and you basically don't see Rio Engamoa at all? That central attacking midfield role. You've got Florian Wirtz there, who's going to start the majority of the games. Szoboszlai can play there. I mean, Liverpool have got so many actually who are capable of playing in that number 10 position. So there's just no need for a Morgan Rogers, and it's hard to see how that will stack up. So wouldn't be shocked to see him move on, but it won't be to Liverpool, I expect.
Well, that's the first disappointing thing you've said all day, but we'll see if anything happens around that